Last week, we started Chumash Vayikra, which is known as Torah's Kohanim. It's the law which pertains to the Kohanim, all the laws of Karbanos, sacrifices, the species, the context which they can be brought, how they're brought. And the Gemara tells us that you're only able to bring a Karban only if the transgression was inadvertent. On a deliberate sin, one is not able to bring a Karban. And even when one brings a Karban, a sacrifice, for an inadvertent transgression, what we call shogeg, it has to be predicated on tshuva. If the person brings the Karban does not do tshuva, the Karban has no value. Not only does not have value, it's referred to as zevach risham to'eva. The zevach, the Karban of a Rosha is to'eva, it's an abomination to God. So simply the way it's understood, why is it an abomination? Because what are you trying to bring? You're an evil person. God doesn't want that kind of Karban. You have no tshuva, you have no remorse for the wrong you have done. Therefore, the Karban is not valid. Not only it's not valid, it's an abomination. There's no Rechaim HaKodesh that explains why you're not able to bring a Karban for a mazid, for a deliberate transgression. We've discussed many times in various svarim that when a person sins, it creates a level of impurity. The consequence of sin creates a nether force, an intense, impure force. When one does tshuva, that force is vaporized, negated and vaporized, doesn't exist any longer. In addition, there's a mitzvah of tshuva, of repentance. But there's certain transgressions needs a Karban. They need a Karban, tshuva is not sufficient. You need a Karban to bring about the atonement, the reinstatement. So shogeg, you're able to. To bring about the reinstatement with tshuva and the Karban. Amazing and deliberate, you're not able to. So the Rambam, based on the Gemara, says a person, let's say, violates something amazing deliberately, he needs tshuva and Yom Kippur. Other levels of transgressions, one needs tshuva, Yom Kippur, and Yisurim, suffering. If Chas v'sholom Schil Hashem, it's even more so. It's only when the person dies is he fully atoned in conjunction with everything that preceded it. Tshuva and Yom Kippur. So the Rechaim HaKodesh explains why, if one transgresses b'mezid deliberately, why can't you bring a Karban? So he explains that when you bring a Karban, the impurity of the sin goes onto the Karban. And because the impurity of the sin is so intense, it's bringing something which is abominable in the sanctuary. It's a disgrace. Therefore Hashem says that can't be brought in my sanctuary, in my Azorah, cannot be brought. Therefore, the only way it's able to be vaporized is through what? Tshuva, Yom Kippur, maybe Yisurim, suffering also. What about a shogeg? So shogeg seems to be because the tumah is not as intense, therefore, although it also goes on to the Karban, that you could bring. However, it seems from the Siforno from last week, he explains that the concept of smicha, when you lean on the Karban, he says, "Yismoch al yodo, es yodo al karbanu ki misnapil mispalo she'avono al rosh hakorban." You pray to Hashem and you do tshuva that the shin should go onto the Karban. Kinyin kesar mishtaleach, as we find with the goat that was thrown down the mountainside. We know the Torah tells us that the person who transported the goat, he became contaminated. Because of the level of impurity that was on this goat, because all the sins of Klal Yisrael were on this goat, therefore he became contaminated. When the one who transported this goat, his question, when he took it out of the Azorah, when he threw it down the mountainside, when exactly does the contamination come upon him? But the basic contamination is the sin. Identically, even a shogeg, the impurity transfers onto the Karban. But what are we saying? Because it's not as intense, therefore it's acceptable. But factually, if he wouldn't do tshuva. Even if you do tshuva when you bring a carbon, the tshuva somehow wears down and dilutes the sin, that the impurity is not as intense. So therefore, as a result of that, when you bring the carbon with tshuva, it's not a toeva, because the tshuva already had actually worn down the intensity of the impurity, even of a shogeg. But what happens if a person doesn't do tshuva on the shogeg? Then it's zevel shem toeva. Because even on an inadvertent level, if one doesn't do tshuva, the intensity is at a level similar to the mazid, and therefore it's something which is unacceptable in the sanctuary.